Got a DL.
All right. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitution, government, are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of their mind, their forefathers. Divine and national principles that they will be law abiders and receive the divine rights as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in the government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast out a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and are not a granted privilege and are not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce belong to the citizens alone. Without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for national free government and the government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to help me to save my people. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. I am dependent on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution to the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mind back to their own national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. No. If Italians, Greeks, and English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more then right that the law should be enforced upon all other government American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of the law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a free national a descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy forefathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon the earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. There, your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power. With the constitutional body of power and that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in the North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine ways of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the people, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin, which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, without understanding that they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world, they will not refrain from the sinful ways of action, and their deeds have been brought. The, the deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerners for all these great issues. But I have traveled to the South and have examined conditions there. And it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on true American citizens of moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light.
Islam.
Islam.
I want to say peace and love to 9L.
Hey, peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
I want to say peace and love to G93. I'm going to introduce yourself. You got the floor. G93.
Mic is muted.
Oh yeah, your mic is muted. G93. Oh, he's put. Oh, I would imagine you just text something in the chat. Let me see. Okay. My brother, Cali exclusive. Okay. Peace and love. Glad you was able to make. I know who you are now, but yeah, you're still muted. But peace and love. I just wanted to figure out who you were. So I got something queued up. Brother Benjamin Bay has something queued up, and then on the back end, I wanted to kind of summarize updates, etc. Okay, so when we're dealing with Freemasonry, and the reason I'm going over this is once again, you're gonna add it to your tool belt when you got your Fez turban on, you're gonna be, interface with the public. They're gonna have general questions for you in a lot of different spectrums. Some people might associate you having a Fez on with the Shriners, Masonic Order, etc. Right? So you want to clear that up and distinguish what Moorish science is distinguished from the Masonic Lodge. Let me check the chat. Okay, yeah. Peace and love, peace and love. So Freemasonry is a fraternal order, which is worldwide and is essentially an institution which preserves key knowledge, parts of true human history, anthropology, philosophy, religion, cosmology, metaphysics, mathematics, science, liberal arts, world history, spiritual geometry, jurisprudence, law, moral government, astrology, alchemy, and the potentate powers of the planet, Earth, etc. When you're dealing with potentate, you're dealing with like empire, basically. You got a sultan, as a potentate. So dealing with how to have government structure on the earth plane connected with the as above understanding of the universe, right? Goes hand in hand. Freemasonry is Moorish science. The modern name for the ancient Egyptian mysteries called Samitu. So when I looked, let's review or observe Samitu. Let's go into what is that? What is Samitu? What is Samitu? The ancient Egyptian term is called Sami or Same, which means union. Sami Kawe or Sami Tu becomes the union of the two lands, which translates to the merging of the lower self and the higher self to know thyself. And this signifies Egyptian yoga. So let's marinate on this. Let me go back. Let's go back here. So let's rewind a little bit before we marinate on that. So Freemasonry is really Moorish science. Got that? The modern name for the ancient Egyptian mysteries called Samtu or Semitua. So what is
Hey,
Moorish
peace. How
science? Say that again, brother Ramik Bey.
peace. How you spell the Sunny too? How do you spell
S
that?
SEMATAWI.
SENA. Okay. Peace.
That's two words too. So
Sami.
So I guess I'm talking about this on two fronts. One, Freemasonry is just more science concealed in architecture and signs and symbols, right? That's one thing. But Moorish science is out of the eastern part of the world or ancient part of the world are also known as Sami too. And when we look that up, it's talking about knowing the higher and lower self. Isn't that in the lessons of the Circle Seven? Isn't that in the lessons that Noble Drew Ali compiled in the Circle Seven? The one-liners and straight to the point lessons that really is connected to an ancient culture, right? But if that's why he said if he give it all to you at once, you're gonna go back to sleep. He's giving you pieces. It's up to us to study, 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 and go over these things, right? Once again, we want to be competent ambassadors. When we have Fez and Turbinol interfacing with the public, we want to be competent on history and law. So we can Freemasonry or anything on the planet dealing with anything that ever happened. We need to know about it. They're gonna have questions about it. All right, so dealing with the high self-mastery, more science. right? Higher and lower self, knowing thyself is more science. And we know when you do that, it bleeds into government structure, order, trade, just having balance within, right? That's how you get counselors. Now we have counselors amongst us. We have people that are balanced enough to deal with our people that are not balanced, right? That's what it's about. But you gotta know the culture, right? There's a lot of tentacles that can spring forth by comprehending more science. Any questions on that before I move on? I said a lot of different interrelated things, but the main point was comprehending what Freemasonry really is. It's really more science. What they're doing today is not more science, but it's embedded in the architecture and the signs and symbols. So that's how you explain it to somebody. Because they're gonna associate the feds with the Shriners. Some people. So you have to clear that up. You have to clear that up. All right. So any questions on that? Any thoughts before I move on to another space?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Peace.
I have
I
a
do.
question.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, I was as far as the more science and the Freemasonry in regards to that, you can't be a Freemason and be a Moor, or is it synonymous? Because what I'm seeing is somebody's lying to you, or somebody's giving you the free truth.
Right. Yeah. Right. So more is just a nationality that came with a culture and came with an understanding of high science, right? That's just you're a Moor. You got the feds, it's not marked, but the Masonic Lodge is teaspooning the people, giving them degrees and slow walking them. Like the stuff we talking
Yeah,
about right now, if all somebody got to do is attend a temple meeting, a Khalifa Society, or any Moorish body politic that's talking about 360 degrees of information that's not fragmented, you gonna be 33-degree level in the Masonic Lodge.
yeah,
They initiate members ain't getting this stuff. They getting the stuff we
yeah.
talking about in our temple meetings 10 years from now, if that, right? So that's the difference. We're not
Gotcha.
gatekeeping the information. And we're not a lodge. We talking
Yeah.
about nationality and birthrights, so
And that's what I figured the difference was, and just the simple fact of that, just talking nationality and law, and somebody else is talking the smaller stuff. And it's just like that's what I haven't heard. I grew up Catholic, and then just seeing it, I'm just like, this is the Roman Catholic, this is the Roman Empire. Ain't no way I should be up in here. And then just researching and doing film and things like that just brought me more to the science. And then I heard the prophet's name when I was like 18, and then just got a few questions, but I'm mainly listening though.
that's good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Any question? That's what this platform is for. So don't hesitate with the questions because somebody else might had had the same question you got, but just for whatever reason didn't ask. So it's all
okay.
good. I appreciate the question. Appreciate it. Any other thoughts on this space?
Peace. I
Yeah.
got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Um, when they're asking you general questions about us, the Moors, do we explain the old information or the new, or just balance it out?
You can give a general, you know, and that's based on how much you know. Because me personally, I choose to bounce around and show how the Moors were in different parts of the planet and had different government structures built with modern nationalities today. I like to take anybody nationality that's in front of me and connect them and show them how they is connected to the Moorish paradigm ancestrally. That's my how I like to uh do my narrative and explain it, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
so I recommend that. But first you need to know about the Moors in all the parts of the world. The Moors in Germany, over there in Hindustan, um, the Americas being the Olmecs, the Philippines, how they the Moros, the Sultan of Sulu. You didn't know about Tibet, Cambodia, how that was known as the Nagas, how the Canaanites became I mean, the Kushites became the Hindustanis, and the Ethiopians was part of the Kushites, and you need to know it's a lot of you got to study. But what you can just take it whatever you are competent with at the time. You can share it. You kind of stay in that scope, and just invite people to the temple meetings if they still interested. That's kind of how that's an ambassador hat. But you see where I'm at though. You see the importance of the studying. Kenny. Oh, that's I think that's you, Nine. That's Kenny.
What was that?
No, somebody named Kenny just came in. I figured that was Kenny from somebody you know.
Oh, I think there was someone else named Ken that came on.
Oh, well, anyway, brother Kenny, peace and love.
Peace, man. How you doing?
All as well.
Oh, peace and love, Black. What's happening?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Okay, DL. Peace and love, all as well, man. Beautiful. I'm glad you was able to make it, man. Glad, glad you was able to make it.
No problem. You can hear me.
So how you feeling about that space, brother Lamar? How you feeling? You got any other questions?
I'm sorry, my Zoom cut off, but nah, you explained enough. Peace and love.
Yes. Our peace and love. I think Nine you had something?
Yeah, no, I wanted to speak on what we were talking about. So the spoon feed to keep like power and control. Like it says right here, like over the masses that don't study and don't learn about this information. But then like at Khalifa Society, we go over this because it's like, power to the people pretty much, right? Instead of having people gatekeep it and kind of like spoon feed us, like we already know how to move, but that's why like the studying is important. And then also not only the studying, but the application. Because you can study all you want, but you also have to apply in like real time, consistently. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Islam. Islam. Any other thoughts? All right. Or somebody. Oh, okay. All right. A lot of information in here, but I have certain stuff queued up for today. So $2 bill. Most people seen a $2 bill. They seen this picture. Maybe they didn't know exactly what they was looking at. So let's go over what this back of this $2 bill is dealing with. The Declaration of Independence is clearly proof of who the Slavs really were and are. Those who were branded Negroes, colored, and black were enslaved, but were not and are not the pale people, or not the people seeking freedom from the British. So we have Slavs that came over here prior to the Declaration of Independence, and then they were paying taxes to their crown because they were British subjects, they were French subjects. Those are the Slavs that were brought here. So the cross-Atlantic slave trade, it did happen. Irish, British, blonde hair, blue eyed people. The Moors that were enslaved based on just going to war. Some of our tribe lost and got colonized. So we was POW, prisoners of war. But we weren't brought here as slaves. That's a Freemasonic made up story by John D. Rockefeller and the crew to have the people think they foreign to the land, so we can't make land claims, estate claims, right? But that's a whole nother story. But I just want to give you some context on when we say slave and Slav, right? And please stop me and ambush me with questions if I'm just, I'm just saying stuff kind of, I know the information, but I'm not going to assume everybody knows it. So stop me for any type of clarity. So those who were once again branded black were enslaved, but were not and are not the people seeking freedom from British. However, since Moroccans, Moors housed these serfs, a serf, look up a serf, it's an indigent servant or a Slav. or a person under the political status of Slav or Negro. And as we'll read later, Negro is actually applied to the Irish first. When you read it, you're gonna get into there's books that talk about the Slavs referred to as Negroes because that's a status. It had nothing to do with skin complexion. All right, so but let me continue. Um, they house these serfs, indentured servants, and Slavs. Remember, the word Slavic, as in Yugoslavia, is the true origin of the word Slav. It is derived from the word Slovene or Slavic. This refers to the European members of the Serbo-Croatian group of Slavic peoples. However, contemporarily, sociologists have layered the NATO identity word with social political connotative meanings. Thus, the said Albion Europeans were the first Slav in America. They too were in conflict with Britain. These Albions were in conflict with the brutish Moors of Britain. These were Christian Moors over there. The noble families of Europe were Moors. They just weren't Muslim. Those who declared this Declaration of Independence, were under the rule of King George III, a Moor, and they were seeking release from the British or brutish Moors, who relentlessly wanted to keep them Albions as in slavery and did not want to free them. So we had Moors or brutish Moors didn't want to free them, the Slavs. They would, and then we had some other aspects of our people that was like, you know what, let them free. They considered them a rebellious group. The brutish Moors considered the Slavs, the Pilgrims, a rebellious group. Based on the fact many were released from Britain jails who cannot be held in trust or entrusted positions. So Moors were not in agreement with each other. Right, like I said, the British didn't want to let them free. Some Moors was like, just let them free. That's inhumane to keep them like that. Just let them do their thing. Let them get some government structure. Let them, you know. Some Moors was like, no, I ain't with that. Now we got infighting against the Moors. The rulers of the land were disputing over what to do with the Slavs. So Moors were not in agreement with each other, but still are responsible for civilization and the principles of civilization. In the spirit of same, the Moors accepted the Declaration of Independence and assisting in freeing the Albions. Let's look at the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Amity definition states in the second paragraph, it is properly the successor of the consular courts after the fall of the Western Empire. The fall of the Western Empire? Aren't we in the Western Empire? So when did it fall? The Rastas, the NOI, and etc. are still waiting for Babylon, the United States, to fall, i.e. the US. So obviously this is not a reference to the US. But the last Western Empire, as far as de jure, prior to the de facto, who stated, it is properly the successor of the consular courts. The Supreme Court has said that the de jure government offices still exist, but the people have failed to occupy them, right? So the empire is the empire. Just the people think they Black, Negro, color, Latino, Hispanic. But the people of the empire ancestrally are still here. They just fell for the okie doke. They think Christopher Columbus killed them off with a blanket, or they got shipped here from Africa. Generally speaking, Crips Bloods, right? We just want to go to the NBA and the NFL. These are the problems of the empire. The interest has shifted. That's what happened to the empire. Infighting. That's what happened to the empire. But we're still here. The empire's still here. People walking around, just the Walking Dead. Interesting. So I looked up the meaning of consular courts, and another interesting connection happened. Make note in the last sentence of the paragraph, quote, the last of the United States consular courts, Morocco, was abolished in 1956. America was also a Negro continent, and the Ottomans are the Ottoman Olmecs of Mexico. So this is a quote. This is a quote from a Latin author. Now, if this author is calling the Moors the Ottomans and the Olmecs of Mexico, I thought the Ottomans was in the east somewhere. But the Ottomans have fezzes on. They called our people Turks. Sultan Muhammad II was responsible for.
The branch administration.
So Muhammad II was responsible for shutting down Constantine, or one of the Constantines. That's loosely referred to the Ottoman Empire. So the reason I'm saying it like this is to show you that the whole world know that the empire was vast. They know the Moors were loosely referred to as the Olmecs, loosely referred to as the Ottomans, loosely referred to as the Mayans, loosely referred to the Mali Empire, loosely referred to, right? But as long as we don't get confused, like these are different people, everything's okay. Right? But just know the whole world knows what's going on. It's just domestically, we've been so dumbed down, we just have no clue about any of this thing we've been talking about. Most people, we've been talking about the last 40 minutes. People have no clue. But we must have the light to give the people the light. That's the whole purpose of the temple, to get sharpened, and you can refine your light and utilize it to assist your brother and usher people in to the momentum of this Moorish paradigm. Because it's a momentum, it's happening. We're in the Aquarian age. It's going to happen. This is the truth. What we're talking about is facts. What we're talking about is letting people know about the illustrious culture. That's honorable. Divine law is going to bestow gifts upon us for this, because this is in harmony with nature. This is what Yahshua was doing in his time, letting people know, stop following the Roman ways, get back to the ancient culture. That's all we're doing. That's honorable. So just get tight on history and law so you can do honorable things efficiently. Wake the people up efficiently. That's all. Right? Ottoman Olmecs of Mexico are the remains of the Aboriginal Negro race. These are her words. This is the author's words. But you know what she's implying. Dark-skinned people was the original people of the land. Therefore, obviously, the fall of the Western Empire, Morocco, written in Black's Law 4th edition, is referring to our fall, the Al-Moroccan Empire, called the Ottoman Empire, Moorish Empire, Washita, etc. Songhai, Shanghai, Egyptian, Kushite, all these is Moors. As long as we know that and can competently explain the connection of these ancient clans and how moving forward today, and you can talk about the timelines of how things transition to how they are today. We can wait. It's over. We have a society of people that are competent and can do that. It's over. It's over. Game over. Empire is back next week. America is part of the dominions of the Moroccan Empire. Ottoman Songhai, see United States Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141, which was repealed. And it's also the Act of August 7, 1952, Section 141. And when most people, they're, some Moors use the tax exemption AA 22141. These are arbitrary numbers that just came out the sky. It's correlated to Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141. And AA is dealing with citizenship of the land. So A status in the Department of Justice or in the Department of, I think of Immigration or something, services or something like that. AA would be the highest status of the land. So that's what AA stands for. So that's just a little background. So jurisdiction of the United States and Morocco was relinquished by a memorandum of President Eisenhower dated September 15, 1956. Notice was given to Morocco on October 6, 1956, and all pending cases were disposed of by 1960. And here are the reference points related to judicial authority, generally of ministers and consuls of United States, China, Turkey, Morocco, Muscat, Abyssinia, or most people know Ethiopia, that's Ethiopia right now, Persia, and territories formerly part of the Ottoman Empire, including Egypt. So when you're talking about, once again, loosely refer to the Ottoman Empire, you're saying the Moroccan Empire, the Moorish Empire. Also, I did a demonstration the other day. The Moors were actually responsible for even the independence from being a French protectorate over there. So in 1956, when the Kingdom of Morocco got their independence and got established, it was sheiks over here that was helped that happen.
Responsible.
Yeah, right.
So can I just add to something you were saying?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I'm following along in my own kind of way. I got this book here, just for everybody wondering what I'm about to do. You were talking about how all the Moors are all connected around the world. So I have this part of the book. It says Moorish Mexicans, Moorish Cubans, Moorish Bahamians, Moorish Jamaicans, Moorish Haitians, Moorish Nicaraguans, Moorish Trinidadians, Moorish Arubians, Moorish Puerto Ricans, Moorish Hondurans, Moorish Panamanians, Moorish Brazilians, etc. So just to add on, so like Moors all around the world, like you were saying.
Yep. Any other thoughts on this space before I continue? So in 1777, Morocco becomes the first country to acknowledge America's independence as a new country. And of course, this is paraphrasing. It's really to acknowledge the United States, because we know the United States and America are two different concepts, right? But regardless, the empire is the first sovereign power to recognize that new body politic that got created via the Articles of Confederation, right? And before there was Article of Confederation, these were Slavs. These were Irishmen, Englishmen, people that were looked at as basically peasants in the English government structure, in the Irish government structure, right? They were essentially in jail. They were sent over here to carry out jail sentences, actually. And the Muslims over here, the Moors that were practicing the ancient empire, having a sultanate, and we had more compassion than our brutish Moors. So we allowed them to, set up jurisdictions. There's a lot more to the story. I'm just generalizing for right now because that's another scope. But yeah, let me keep, like I said, if you got questions, just put them out there. I'm gonna continue reading. In 1784, Thomas Jefferson, Mason, Benjamin Banneker said Benjamin Franklin, Mason, and John Adams, Mason, was commissioned to negotiate a treaty with the Emperor of Morocco. In 1786, Morocco became the first Muslim country to sign a peace treaty with the United States. Algeria in 1795, Tripoli in 1796, Tunis in 1797, Muscat in 1833. And that's why up here it mentions Muscat, right? This whole list is Moroccan Moorish dominions. This whole list. And really even China. Manchuria, like I say, the Fushang dynasty. You know what I'm saying? We already know Persia and it's not something that exists. That's the Sumerian Moors, and we know Abyssinia, they're dealing with modern day Ethiopia and Pakistan and all that. All right, so Count Valley, author of The Ruins of Empire, translator Joel Barlow himself was an American statesman well known for drafting the Islam-appeasing Treaty of Tripoli, in which it was written that the United States of America is not in any sense founded on Christian religion. And that's a quote from the Treaty of Tripoli, actually, which was another treaty entered into with the Moors and the they say Christian powers or the European powers are basically our cousins, the brute, European Moors, basically. And the reason I keep saying it like this because we were taught in school that these British kings and queens was blind hair, blue-eyed people. These was like basically mulattoes, our cousins. That was just Christians. That's why you Google Saint Maurice right now. Dark, original German. I'm talking about 2nd century. A Christian priest, Moor, a Coptic Christian Moor. And he was holding in his hand. And if you go to Saint Maurice of Germany and go to images, you're gonna see him with a Roman flag, a yellow flag with a black bird. So we talking about ancient Roman, we talking about Roman Empire. These are just Moors that were Romans. The blonde haired, blue eyed people were the Slavs. They were not in political power until the late 1800s. So that has to continually be stressed to the people. Us Moors may been get this. When we get this, it's repetitive for us that are studying. But the general public, we have to make sure that we demystify the spells and help them understand the whole picture. Like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It has to be talked about like that. The European nations paid tribute to the Moors well into the 19th century. David McRitchie in his book, The United States and Barbary Powers, and whenever you hear Barbary power, that's referring to the Moorish Empire. Barbary or Tartary or Tartarian make up the whole empire, Barbary to Tartary. All right, the Americas to Manchuria, Barbary to Tartary. The US, English, French, Dutch, Danes, and Swedish, and I may say all the nations were tributary to the Moors, paying tribute to the Moors. Shortly after the United States independence in 1793, she failed to pay the necessary tithes or taxes to Morocco for use of her waters. The United States also failed to answer Moorish emissaries, and the Moroccans responded by detaining United States ships and citizens. David McRitchie goes further in Ancient and Modern Britain, Volume 1 and 2, and states the Moors had control of the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. This is why the U.S. Marines sing of defeating the Moors from the halls of Montezuma in Mexico to the shores of Tripoli. Right? We just read a treaty dealing with the Treaty of Tripoli, right? These are Moorish dominions. These are Moorish nation states. We got to know the history. We saying we Moors, we got to know the history of our ancestors. And this ain't ancient. It's not like in BC time. This is like 1700, 1800s. Confirming in the song the extent of the Moorish Empire of dominions of Amexem or Atlantis. The United States is not a nation nor a nationality. No, the United States of America is, but America al Morocco is not the United States, meaning one has superior position. Of course, al Moroccan, ancient dialect, new dialect, American. But that's a separate concept from saying the United States or the 13 colonies or the European Union or the Pilgrim, the crew that came as the Pilgrims. That's two separate concepts. We need to know how to explain that to the people and don't confuse them when we're talking to them. In 1788, 1799, the Sultan Emperor Muhammad ibn Abdullah Bey and President George Washington exchanging letters about peace and asking the Sultan to intercede with authorities in Tunis and Tripoli to obtain the right of free navigation of United States ships in the Mediterranean. So George Washington is pleading with a sultan in America, because remember, it was addressed to New Amsterdam and New York or whatever. It was addressed to America, to an American sultan, that letter. George Washington is pleading with the sultan, like, please ask your cousins in Tripoli that are not allowing us a safe passage, because the empire was connected worldwide. Whoever hasn't read the letter from George Washington to the Sultan Muhammad ibn Abdullah, which was addressed to an American sultan, New York, December 1st, please do so. I read this multiple times. And once again, you can look it up very easily. The letter from George Washington to the Sultan of Morocco. At this time, this was before 1956, so the kingdom did not exist. So when we're talking Morocco, we're talking the modern day, the Americas, and more, because the empire is vast. So check that out, whoever, especially new brothers that's in the chat, check that out. But I will summarize the letter and give you some bullet points. In this letter, George Washington is saying, we don't have a navy, we don't have anything useful at the moment, but just give us some time. He's also apologizing for missing rent payments called tribute. Just stall us out, Sultan. Forgive us. So, and the reason I'm highlighting that, this debunks and blows out the water the cross-Atlantic slave trade in the context that Black Negroes were sent from Africa. We was already here. He talking to a melanated Sultan. We're not Black Negro in color, we Moors. He was talking to a Moorish Sultan, loosely referred to as an Indian in these lands, right? So I wanted to highlight some bullet points for people that have not read this letter, but please read the letter in its entirety. Okay, so note, like I just pretty much said, the letter to the Sultan of Morocco was sent to the city of New York, Northwest Africa, also called North Mexum, or the North Gate, and not the Kingdom of Morocco. So America, when any book where an author is talking about ancient Northwest Africa, they're talking about the Americas. Northwest of Mexum. The old Meccas, she people, Cushites, Songhai Malian Moors, loosely referred to as Mandingos, the last rulers of the Western Empire, Moroccan Moorish Empire, religiously Islam, I, self, law, and master, self-mastery. They became known as the Ottoman. Historically, they were the Dogons. Historically, they were the Dogons. Historically, they were the Dogons. Kush Moors, Kushites, Moors of Songhai. Songhai, Shanghai. See where I'm going with this? Malian Empire. Before moving into Mali, or Mari, the Dogon were called the Moors, but spelled M-A-U-R-S. It doesn't change nothing. M-O-O-R-S, M-A-U-R-S, M-U-U-R-S. It doesn't mean these are different people. These are all Moors, just more in different dialects and languages. Some in Latin, some in modern English, etc. It doesn't change anything. They're still Moors. Meaning they were the high priests of Anu on Ra. The Dogon left Tamare, Terra means land, Moray, ancient way for just saying Moor, land of the Moor. They left Tamare, now called Kemet in Egypt. They left Tamare, now called commercially Kemet in Egypt, around 6,000 BC, or 8,000 years ago, but carried with them the teachings of Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus. So that means the Hermetic principles is more science, right? Right? The ancient mysteries, the Gulf of Mexico and southeastern Gulf coast form a massive crescent. So just the fact it forms a massive crescent, getting back to, matriarch, mother, Luna, the moon, right? This was with intention. The home of the powerful ancient empire of the Almarushi, aka the Olmec. The Olmecan Moors were the custodians and preservers of the ancient mysteries. This is verified in Stolen Legacy by George J. James. Leon Dixon revealed that Benjamin Banneker Bay was his full name, surveyor, astronomer, mathematician, farmer, almanac, publisher, multi-genius, they're saying African-American, was descended from the Dogon tribe of Mali, West Africa, an ethnic group renowned for its ancient and mystical astronomical knowledge. This is coming from the unmuseum.org. That's where they're using misnomers. But regardless, they're still putting put it in where it still needs to be as far as timeline. And the reason I emphasize Bay at the end of Benjamin Banneker Bay, why I said it like that, because that's a Morris title. And this is just for one, it's recorded. Two, it's new people that may not just didn't know that. All right, so let me continue. This highly explains his knowledge of the cosmos and his excellent and many inventions. We're talking about Benjamin Banneker Bay, known for creating a time clock and amongst other things. And even in school, they talked about how they say African Americans came up with all these first inventors. Now we know why. They were just Moors. Moors was the mothers or fathers of humanity. But it wasn't like these slaves just, they had these exceptional slaves that was just great. And they just built the first, whatever. That's how they presented in school. Like, you know what I mean? So blow all that stuff out the water. All right, so here's a little timeline. Just for to keep notes and have bullet points. 1775, first president of the United States of America, under the Articles of Confederation, was John Hanson. He was an alleged Moor, a Maryland Shawnee Native American, patriot who fought in the American Revolution. So let's just deal with this. So we were taught George Washington as the first president. Here's a timeline of who the first president was. John Hanson, a Moor. He was also from a Shawnee tribe. He was from the Shawnee tribe of Moors, loosely referred to as Indian tribe and Native Americans. He was from a Shawnee tribe of Moors, right? He was the first president for the United States, right? Because you had to have Moors to kind of navigate, make sure that new politics, that new body that got created is adhering to what they're supposed to adhere to in these lands. They had supervisors. The Moorish Mason by name of Ben Bey, his full name, Emmanuel Mu Ali, aka Benjamin Banneker, was an architect who designed the streets of Washington, D.C. with Masonic codes and astrological glyphs. (1787). Assisted by England, Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, France, Germany, Finland, and Sweden, the United States of America ended their war with the Moors, or the Moroccan Empire, and signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with Emperor Muhammad III. It's a timeline. So the time of 1777 to 1787, we're seeing the construction. So it wasn't just, the Constitution, the treaty. Things happened before Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. Before they came on the scene, there was activity going on. Moors were managing this new thing that got created called the United States. They were managing it, making sure they knew how to run government structure, making sure they, messing stuff up. Of course, other stuff happened. We get that, but this is context for right now. So now back to that $2 bill that we was talking about earlier. What are we looking at here? We're looking at this a little closer. Looking at this $2 bill a little closer here. The man on the left is John Hanson. The man on the right is Ben Bey. Benjamin Banneker, Ben Bey. These are Moors. And you just heard John Hanson was from a Shawnee tribe. He knew he wasn't shit from Africa. These were the Moors helping these pilgrims get situated over here after they got disconnected from their European powers. They no longer was English subjects, British subjects, French subjects, Irish subjects. These were fugitives now. They had to connect with the Moors to even be looked at as legitimate internationally. They're looked at as refugees on the planet. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship saved them politically. Ben Bey was born 1731, making him 45 in this picture, while John Hanson was born 1721, making him 55 in this picture. He is the one with the gray hair. If you look in Encarta's encyclopedia, you won't see either of these men. Why is that? Their names are not on the Declaration of Independence because they were both Moors. And we had our own government. We did not need to sign a Declaration of Independence. We wrote the Declaration of Independence for them. However, George Washington and his cronies never actually severed their ties to the king, and they did not win the Revolutionary War. It was a setup to trap and totally defeat the Moors from inside. What you're taught in schools is called Reconstructed History. Any questions on that? Any thoughts on that? Shown above is, it is not well known that the first president of the United States was John Hanson, a Moor. John Hanson is sitting in the 5th seat on the left. Prince Ben Bey is sitting Masonically, number 13 from the left and first at the table. According to Masonic traditions of Prince Hall Masons, they say that one of the Moors on the $2 bill is a Prince Hall. So in the Prince Hall Mason circles, they call Benjamin Banneker Bey Prince Hall. Benjamin Banneker Bey nickname is Prince Hall inside the Prince Hall Masonic lodges. That's how they talk about him. They don't call him the Bey. They just say that's Prince Hall. Whoever didn't know that.
Question. So that's how they make the connection with the through the fraternities, with the history. Is that kind of like photo or that reference?
Yeah. Yeah. But most people, when they look at this, they don't know what they're looking at. Like the detail that we're going over, it's over people's head, you know? But it's there. And that's really a Masonic ritual, to put that degree of truth in your face, knowing the people ignorant. That's a ritual. They get, because what it does, they call it karmic debt. Because universal law says if you tell the people that they're being oppressed and you don't do nothing about it, it's shame on you. But on the flip side of the coin, they know that people are so dumbed down that they ain't gonna get the signs in front of them. You feel me? That's the games they playing. Let's see here.
I appreciate that. That cleared it up.
Oh yeah, no problem. Any other thoughts in the chat? Like somebody just came in. All right. So, however, according to the Elder Moors, Benjamin Banneker is one of the two Moors. Esoterically decoded, Prince Chief Justice Ben Bey Emmanuel Ali of the Abenaki or Banneker tribe, who was a prince. So Ben Bey was a prince, an American prince. And by the way, Asir Dugatir did a lecture. You're talking about the people getting hung in the trees. That's talked about in K through 12 of being slaves. Was really princes and the last landowners of certain jurisdictions in America. You got something? Somebody, was that Kabisha? I mean, Kashiba.
Kashiba. Yeah, I had a question. Sorry, I logged off by mistake. So basically my question is, the Treaty of Peace and the Declaration of Independence, that was never for, that was from us for them, not for them for us.
Right. We helped them draft the document. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that was to help them get straight with government. That was never Because now what it is it's like a map that we left behind for ourselves. You understand? But initially it wasn't for that. Initially what you're saying is it was for them to get started on their feet with government. But because we forgot and they took the turbans and the feathers off of our heads and feet, now it serves us as a roadmap back to where we started. I mean, you didn't
Oh,
say that part, but I'm saying that part.
yeah, I like that. That's a good analysis. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the reason I asked is because initially learning about it, and even up until you mentioned it before, I always thought it was something that it was like a joint venture that we did with like I thought it was more so for us. I didn't think it was for them. But now that you said it, it makes sense.
Okay. Islam.
Thank you.
Islam. Let's see here. Let's see here. Any other thoughts? Any questions? Statements? Hence. Okay, so he was from a tribe. So Benjamin Bey was a prince, and he was from the Banaka tribe. He was a prince of the Banaka tribe, whom was a prince that built the halls, lodges, temples, as mentioned previously. Hence, this is the true origin of the name Prince Hall. The Freemasonic founder of African Lodge number 459 today. Prince Ben Bey Emmanuel Muali, commercially called Benjamin Banneker Bey, designed the city of Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. And he perfected the science of federal government based on numerology and astrology or astronomy. After the Tamarine or Kemetic Egyptian structures, and the Moorish government. Note, Philadelphia was the second capital of the United States, right? The city of brotherly love. The treaty was signed over there, right? First, it was New York under the name Belgium, Amsterdam, or New Amsterdam. Philadelphia was second, and Washington District of Columbia was third, in case you never knew. But back to our point, Philadelphia was the capital that our forefather records were kept. Many fail to realize that for Ben Bey or Benjamin Banneker to design a city with such mathematical precision could not have simply relied on drawings, even though it is said Frenchman Major Pierre Charles L'Enfant, the city planner for Washington, D.C., took his plans with him after his dismissal, leaving no copies. So they just, it's getting out now, but they didn't want it to get out that this melanated person was the founder of the architecture of the Pentagon, the Washington, D.C., and all that type of stuff, right? So that's why they kind of discarded and buried that. But a few books established the fact that L'Enfant was really the middleman working from a set of original plans developed by Benjamin Banneker, but carried out. It's just like Tesla. Everybody wants to take credit for more science or something, but the truth is coming out who the originator is, right? But carried out by George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. That was until the plans were taken and the need to call in the original designer, Banneker. So here's the actual design from an aerial view. Parts of Maryland within the federal district. And we know what they call Washington, D.C., or the District of Columbia. We know that Columbia is a Roman goddess, so we're talking about a Roman jurisdiction, just for different perspective. Just today. It wasn't District of Columbia back during Benjamin Bey's time, obviously, but I'm talking about today. But this is what Benjamin Bey constructed. And this is the Library of Congress right now. You can get a certified copy of the plans. So very elaborate. Most Americans do not know Washington, D.C. was originally an alleged Slav plantation in Maryland. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, mentioned it in her remarks at the December 2nd, 2008 dedication of the Capitol Visitors Center. Quote, the Capitol was built by Slavs. Well, she said slaves. I'm saying Slav for dramatic effect. Holland, author of quote unquote Black Men Built the Capitol. Another reference point, a book by Jesse J. Holland, author of quote unquote Black Men, or yeah, Black Men Built the Capitol, discovering African American history in and around Washington, D.C., revealed that enslaved so-called black men helped construct the White House. Now, of course, this is severely connotative. How they dressing this up? All right, as far as the black men and all that, because they're still, if you don't know the information we've been talking about, you still kind of get rocked to sleep. Like, oh, these Africans that got shit from Africa, those slaves. Some of them is just smart, and they just, people come up with this type of stuff, right? But we just use this as cross-referencing to the stuff we're already talking about, just to show you where it's at. So, the designer Pierre Elefant commissioned the captured so-called blacks from their slaveholders, while architect James Hobben brought some of his own enslaved men. So that's in that book, that reference. You see the, connotative. So now let's look at this picture. What are we analyzing? What are we seeing here? Now that we know the background and we know about the architecture of Benjamin Bay, floor plans, assessment of land, it would make sense that the melanated brother is showing George Washington and the crew the survey of the land to get them familiar. This is all new to them. They're like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? We've got to understand what we're looking at here, or comprehend rather, what we're looking at. And look at the floor. What is their feet sitting on top of? Ain't that a checkerboard floor? Any Masonic temple or, higher degrees one especially, they're going to have a checkerboard floor. Moorish science is simply just duality. People that don't know as simple as that, spiritual, physical, it's actually the yin and the yang. It's actually an expression of the yin and the yang on that floor. But if you don't know it like that bluntly, you'll get it's all spooky and checkerboard Masonic floor, and you getting all caught up in the theater. Bottom line is more science. So this is a picture at the Scottish Rite Masonic Museum. And it depicts a meeting between George Washington, Adam Weishaupt, and surveyor Andrew Ellicott and Benjamin Bay. That's what you're looking at here. Any thoughts on this visual? Any thoughts at all on this visual right here?
I have a question. Is that at a museum somewhere, or where is this photo from?
Yeah, this is at the Scottish Rite Masonic Museum. You can go look at it right now. Or people can look at it right now,
Like Benjamin Banneker in a tent.
Yeah. What'd you say?
It's like Benjamin Banneker look like they're in their tent.
Right, right.
Like the scene, as far as the scenery goes outside, like it's a beautiful scenery.
Right. And remember, George Washington was saying, we don't have nothing yet. So, like you said, I'm glad you brought up the tent, because the royal family of the Americas, Moorish dominions, was checking in on the Slavs, showing them architecture, showing them building plans, enlightening them. Right. So the melanated brother in this picture is in a superior position. George Washington and the crew is in an inferior position politically. So, we need to talk to the community and be able to show people this type of stuff. Because I've seen this picture before, just didn't know what I was looking at. I'm gonna keep it real. I've seen this in school, but they're not
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is that a picture or a painting? Like, what am I looking at?
That's a painting. This is a painting. And this is at the Scottish Rite Masonic Museum. You can look at the live raw painting.
I'm just thinking they have to meet often for that to be a painting. Not to say that they stood there but that was often a meeting place for them to go over those plans. Because a painting, stand there, you know what I'm saying? And like these days we're insensitive to it because like a picture is one too, And even when they first came out, you had to stand for a while. But like for them to have painted that image symbolizes something. So that's why I wanted to know.
Yeah. And remember back then you had people just recording. I mean, back then it was painting for recording back then. Like, people would just sit there and just look at the scene and just be painting, like just you know what I mean. It was common. That was very common back. You know.
So it had to be a common occurrence, is what I'm saying. Because you don't just like see them like, oh, let me paint it, and then they put it in a museum. No, they were meeting, and it almost looks like a secret meeting. You know what I'm saying? The way that like the painter isn't seen, like like he's like in the back. It's not like he's showing us the front, like he's like hidden in his vision of what's happening, as to say like there's a secret meeting happening, and then you put the floor and all of that, which also indicates Masonic or Freemasonry or Moorish science. It's all indicative of the known versus the unknown, or duality, as you said. So that's I'm getting a little too far into it, but I just wanted to know. That's why I want to know if it was a painting or a picture.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought all that to the table, because now in my mind, like you said, it was a secret meeting because there's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
You had Negroes around at this time too. It was our people that were didn't know that who they were at this time. Not to the severe level, but the reason I'm bringing that up is because that was the secret. George Washington didn't want it to get out that to his Negro Slavs that really you come from descendants of the empire. You know what I mean? That's what a Century Free
So
Morris
like,
Act. You know what I'm saying?
so like Harima Biff in a way.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Islam, peace and love, Troy. Yeah, exactly. A shallow grave. It's a shallow grave.
It's so shallow, it's deep. They drown it in 2 feet of water.
Yeah. 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 Yep. Um. All right. So
All
my
right, thank you. I just want to know if it was a painting or a picture.
Oh yeah. No, Islam. Islam. But yeah, like I was saying, around this time frame, you got the Century Free Moors Act. You have a lot of things going on where people are distinguishing themselves. Like I belong to the empire. We're not Negroes, so just to add on to that. So this is what Benjamin Bay was responsible for creating as a time clock. The Washington street map was actually designed by Ben Bay, who was also called Big Ben, and also played Benjamin Franklin, and also Prince Hall, who was openly celebrated as a cult character by the establishment in the form of London's clock tower. Washington was founded by Moorish priests using Isis energy. Note the inverted Venus star above Casablanca in the map above, also the Masonic square and circle. Um, so the most important thing is to understand the origin and not get caught up in the, commercially how they talk about it, like the Illuminati and how it's all spooky now. That's the bottom line. Because people are in a trance right now. The Walking Dead. You can rest assured that all senators, congressmen, and many other officials in DC, I think that's a typo, or no, that's just DOC, District of Columbia, are very well aware of what follows below. They all know that the DC Capitol federal government is only handling Moorish assets as trustee. Every higher Mason knows this, and again, I emphasize that this is the reason why Masonry today is nothing more than a racist global business club, quote unquote. That's kind of connotative. If you place the pyramid with the all-seeing eye on the Washington street map, the location of the eye gives you the precise seat of central government. It is the Washington Grand Lodge. Also, amazingly, the TV series Sleepy Hollow states the most in-depth information on Benjamin Banneker Bay I've ever witnessed. So let's get into this, what we're looking at. So just, and this is, once again, we're going to show you how the signs and symbols go back to Moorish culture, or what they call ancient Egyptian culture. Most people, when we say, oh, this derived from ancient Egyptian culture, they be like, oh yeah, it's us. But even that's a misnomer. So we got to take it even farther. We're not Egyptian. That's a general term for our people. We're not gypsies. General term for our people. We're not Latinos. General term for our people. We're not Arabs. General term for our people. So I like to say stuff like that just as a disclaimer before I give a measure. Brother Hassan, peace and love, man.
Peace and love, brother.
Good to
Peace
see
and
you,
love,
man.
everybody.
So don't get spooked out on the
Yes,
apron
please.
and the compass in the square, the apron and the floor and the winding staircase and the pillars and all that stuff. Just know it derived from Moorish science. Now, here's one example. Here's a couple examples. So when you see the apron, this apron is derived from what? The Moorish high priests, loosely referred to as pharaohs. That's what we wore. We wore that.
Mm.
We wore that, right? This sesh, that's ancient Moorish stuff. Loosely referred to, right? The Egyptian pharaohs wore that. The noble families wore that. Head of the dynasties wore that. This is nothing. Remember, George Washington was a pilgrim. He got taught high science by the Moors in America. He took what he got taught and uses it in symbolism. Why would you want to be in a lodge when you're the Moor? You created the lodge. Why you want to be a lodge member? Why would you want to do that? It makes no sense at all. These statements, thoughts, and I'm pretty much close up my piece because the brother has brother Benjamin Bay. But yeah, I think that's enough. I think I went into enough. I'll do one more round of questions for this segment, and then brother Benjamin Bay has the floor. All right, brother Benjamin Bay, let me give you access to share your screen. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. I think you got it, brother.
Is it this one? Is it this? Nope. Which one is it?
I can't hear him. Is he talking?
I think trying to figure out how to share it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Like it's at the bottom, but like all of my joints here. Okay. We in the game right here. Okay. Oh.
There you go. Boom.
Oh, BT. All right. Oh, never mind. See that? Brother Mafi asked me to put together something about astrology and I want to say law. Let me turn. So I tried to use Saturn and Nova Ali as like a way conjoin astrology law. Because Nova Ali brought law and what brings law universally. So bring the two together. So law, length, angle, and width, which part manifested would be Nova Ali, the manifested part of Saturn. So seen through the hermetic lenses of the law of correspondence, because as above, so below. So whatever Saturn's doing in the heavens, Nova Ali is doing on Earth. So that's how I'm trying to view that. As above, so below. So it is a below, as it is a below. As it is above, so it is below. As it is below, so it is above, reflecting congruent qualities. So like the qualities that Nova Ali brought back are the mirroring qualities of Saturn. So right here is the Moorish zodiac constitution, which is the universal zodiac, which is the zodiac in the heavens, which Nova Ali brought back down to us, So right here it says, when we don't understand the evil influences of our universe, then we resort to the lower things in life, which result in unfold suffering and destruction, seeing Bay. So like brother was saying earlier, how they're teaching us, false history, and by teaching us false history, we're going to live a false life. You know, we look out everywhere, you know, our people are getting treated bad and other citizens as well, but we're like off the backs of us because we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. So if we're not right, the world's not gonna get right. All right, here, this is the excerpt from a book that I got from work. It's called Easy Journey to Other Planets. I'm not sure, some Hindustani dude came up with like all these books about planets and all that. I'm not sure. I was like, all right, cool. And he left me with like one small one. And I was reading it, you know, it reminded me a lot of like teaching of Noble Ali. And I was like, man, dang. You know, so I took this out of there. And as the brother was saying earlier, you know, more science is the metaphysical science of, you know, Earth. So it's like bringing the invisible to the visible, you know, type deal. The material and the non-material. All right, so the material world is only a shadow representation of the anti-material world. Intelligent men who are clean in heart and habit will be able to learn in a nutshell all the details in the anti-material world from the text of the Bhagavad Gita, and these are in actuality more exhaustive than material details. And that reminded me of Noble Ali when he said, you know, more is keep your body clean, pure water, you know, and have a pure heart. You know, so that was like mirroring the teaching. You know, that showed universal teachings of Noble Ali. I wasn't reading that book, you know, looking for Noble Ali's teaching, but by knowing his teaching, they just pop up, you know, as you're reading. Cosmology is the primal part of the literary and cultural aspects of ancient Canaanite, Moabite, Moor civilization, and is the true basis upon which ancient philosophy, religion, metaphysics, and ontology are conjoined. It is a set foundation for high culture on the planet Earth. Cosmology is the study of the universe. The philosophy that compromises a steady cosmology, the world, is recognized as a totality of all the phenomena in space and time. All right. So leap, angle, and width. Saturn is the great teacher of the universe. So this is the above part of the law of correspondence. I read so below. So there's some like pictures of Saturn I thought was tight. All right, so we get into Saturn's divinity, and I was just going with the word divinity because, you know, the planets in the sky is divine. You know, so we stay with that. Saturn is synonymous with the frame of anything. It is involved with the various things, enclosures, bonds, buns, gels, or adhesives. Saturn rules the skin and bones that serve as our frames, the bones that hold the muscles in place, and the skin that acts as walls or containers. Saturn has a dominion over the bone structures of our bodies, including the teeth, ears. It rules the mineral calcium, fluorine, and sulfur. And I just got an excerpt out of an astrology book that I have on hand right here, that's giving more details about, you know, Saturn and its qualities. The astronomical image of Saturn impresses us with its clean lines and cool dignity. Its ring suggests containment and restraint in our chart. Saturn is serious, formal, honoring traditions, limits, and rules as the outermost planet visible to the naked eye. Saturn is the boundary of the ancient cosmos until Uranus bursts through, suggesting its role as the gatekeeper and authority. Right here is the excerpt out of The Clock of Destiny, say part 2, you know, giving more detail about, you know, the universal teaching of Saturn, you know, the rings and it being bound, you know, so started No Way Out. I was like, yeah, let's get that. So this tendency have the white educators on a no way out spot. Therefore, the positions of the great planet Saturn and the radical planet Uranus ruling the north, west, and south gates of the walls of the zodiac. The universe during the 7 years will arise from their mental death of ignorance to the living conscious beings. The head of the Moorish nation, the influences of Saturn and Uranus will raise the people from their mental deaths, whether I myself write it or not, because it has already been written in the universal book of nature, namely the zodiac. I'm only expressing it on paper in order that those who read it and thus become redeemed from their mental death of ignorance and thereby rise with intelligence, unity, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in order that the great economic and social change in the U.S. A, the North Gate might be brought about more rapidly peaceful, contrary to the approaching bloodbath owning to ignorance, namely religiously, racial color, and a state of tradition ignorance. That was CM Bay, speaking, quality of Saturn, how you basically gonna have to get right. All the ignorance and all has to stop, along with what Noble Ali brought, bringing the people perpendicular and fun. And right here is an excerpt from RV Bay Publications about, Saturn, one of the affirmations, rule my world with justice and stability, remove all obstacles, achieve all that is necessary to make me whole and stable. Very Saturn qualities right there. And right here, I think number 6, the candidate must be prepared to change his habits in terms of instructions contained in the books of authority, and for the satisfaction of the Lord, he must be prepared to sacrifice both sense gratification and the sense abnegation, following the example of Arjuna. So Arjuna is in Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is in Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna was basically telling Arjuna, you're gonna have to, put down your fleshly ways to, rise up to your higher self, along with the teachings of Noble Ali. You're gonna have to, put down the things that you once did, those habits. Noble Ali brought us a whole different teaching, so we can have a whole new habit. So basically, our societies can change itself. So that was it on Saturn as far as the astrology part, and then the above and the manifested part of Saturn would be Noble Ali, in practice and in action as well. So manifested, the divine prophet Noble Ali allies universal prophet. So Saturn is a universal cosmic teacher, and Noble Ali is a universal earthly teacher, because his teachings are for everybody. But as he said, us Moors needed it the most, that everybody can benefit universal scale. All right, so there's a picture of Noble Ali right here. There's another picture right here. And in the book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, this is a picture of a supreme being who is supreme intelligence, is the ultimate creator, all attractive personality of Godhead, which be the higher self. So that would be the feather. It's just like, once again, Noble Ali being pretty much everywhere in universal, so. And right here, you see the leg placement as well. This guy right here and Noble Ali. So darn near the same. All right, so Noble Ali divinity, born 1886, January 1886. Wow, dope to go with that. In the corporation state of North Carolina, and he transitions July 20th, 1929.
Wait. So he's a Capricorn?
Yeah.
And his ruling planet is Saturn?
Yeah.
This is crazy. Go ahead. It just hit me right now. It's getting crazier. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I got excited. My bad.
Founded several organizations that he ultimately placed under the umbrella title, the Moorish Science Temple of America, including the Canaanite Temple, 1913-1916, the Moorish Divine and National Movement, 1916-1925, the Moorish Temple of Science, 1925-1928, and the Moorish Science Temple of America. So just like how Saturn, composed the temple, the body temple, Noble Ali came to Earth and constructed physical temple, so just in the correlation of building, structures and bounds, things like that, So that's one resemblance of Noble Ali and Saturn, coming together, basically coming together, making things stick. So just like in the universe, when asteroids or something trying to come, Saturn's ring grab them, and throw them back out to the Earth. Back into the universe, so that could be Noble Ali on the higher plane, making sure Earth don't get like cracked with a big ass, meteor, But right here's a picture of a structure and, beautiful Moors right here. And there's an updated picture that Brother Cujo has as well, which is just as beautiful, in front of the structure that Noble Ali made for Moors, the temple right here. Moorish Science Temple of America is October 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 1928. Right here, the attendees of the 1928 Moorish Science Temple of American Convention in Chicago, the prophet is in white in the front row, center, like the planet Saturn. Built the frame to the human body, the prophet built organizations for the various bodies of misclassified Moors across the continent of America. And I put Morocco in parentheses because America is the modern term for our continent, but this is Morocco. And, studying Muhammad Ali, you understand that ancient mindset of calling it that. So in our mind, it is Morocco, but has the modern teaching, America is the watered down version of that. The prophet brought divine lessons down from the heavens to uproot the stagnation in the minds of the people, Moors across the world, who would be willing to listen and thought their situations could be better. Right here is the divine constitution of Moorish America. Basically laws of things. Keep things in order. So this was basically structure on paper. You have a building structure, now you got paper structure for individuals to take care of themselves when they leave the physical temple, or if you don't have a physical temple to go to, clearly you can print this out or have it somewhere, and you can take these principles out into the world, like, Brother Monty said. So someone comes up to you and asks you anything, you have clear cut answers that, are straight to the point, and these answers can send people to other places and, compound on their, studies like Act 6, tell you the time of slavery, 1779, 1865, you can actually go there, and use that tangibly, So, it's on to that. And this is just, literature, things that Noble Ali brought, these heavenly teachings. And right here, he has mother in his arms right here, and humanity is on her womb. So, that's vitally important as well, because without mother, there is no us. So knowing this teaches as well and get to the root of it all, we uproot, a mother, we'll be all right globally. Islam and its teachings are more beneficial to Moors' earthly salvation, and that our true nature was withheld from us. In traditions, he founded, Noble Ali, male members of the temple wear fez and turban as national headdress. Women wear turban and fez as well. And, out there, it's like, oh, women shouldn't wear fezzes and all that, but it's like, they created the fez. I'm sure that it's not an issue, but, Noble Ali didn't create mother wearing fez. He brought it back universally, like, here's your national headdress. Always being having it. And right here is an excerpt from Brother Kudro's book, Hold Me Up, Noble Ali's lessons on law and spirituality. And like we were saying about mother. And if you ever get this book, it's like hear him speaking, how it's like written, but if people could use their common sense, they would see the message being conveyed. Noble Ali is holding mother, holding on grandma, holding woman in his arms, while he's coming out of the cares of the world, standing on the solid rock of salvation. Why is he bringing woman out of the water? As one can see, the woman has written on her humanity. That was purposely done. So the people who think Noble Ali is patriotic need to recognize he was the director of the matriarchy. The sister, mother, aunt, grandma is unconscious. She's not awake. She's dead because she is humanity, and you cannot kill humanity because there will always be a woman. Humanity can't die. The prophet is holding woman in his arms, or her is written humanity. On her is written humanity. He is not holding a brother and a sister with humanity written on them. Why would he bring woman out of the cares of the world? Why wouldn't he be holding a brother? If he's patriarch, why would he be? Why he should be holding a brother? No, clearly he's not patriarch. Clearly he's matriarch. Clearly he is the reconstructor of the matriarchal mindset of having honors for mother. Yeah, explaining that picture right here. Like, hey, he's not holding a dude, so this is not, dude humanity. This is mother humanity. Brother Kujo's words. And here's another excerpt from that as well, a hadith, Brother Noble Ali's prophecies. It said, Brother Edward Miliel stated that Holy Prophet told him, you do what I tell you. you never mind what they say. I have given you law, Quran, and Constitution, and I expect you to enforce my law and do what I say. Never mind what they say or do. They can do nothing but die. And this remind me of the rings of Saturn. It's like, don't mind that. You know, I brought you everything you need. I brought you the structure. You know, they can't break this. You know, you can't get out of the rings of Saturn. You know, I'm that guy. Don't sweat that. You know, this is, it's a reason why this is hard. You know, it's a reason why people are trying to tear this down. Don't worry about it. They're going to die trying to stop this. Don't worry about nothing. You know, but that's why I took it, and it reminded me of very Saturn. Because when Saturn comes into your life and your life is all in turmoil, you know, you're gonna have to handle that, like, or die. You're gonna have to handle your responsibility or die. Ain't no in between. You know, either sit in your tutor or go get it done. But it reminded me of heavily how Saturn would be, you know, in the heavens. And right here goes, children, there won't be a few, there won't be but a few saved because you are not going to do what I tell you. Like Saturn again, or like grandma is like, hey, you that's hot, you know, but you're gonna touch it, go ahead. I know you're not gonna listen, go ahead, burn yourself. You know, so these are like motherly principles that Nova Jolly is bringing back. You want your way, you have it. Like the stove hot, go ahead, touch it. Your way you're going to have, but your way leads downward, children. So you better do like I tell you. If you do like I tell you, there's a chance for you. If not, there's nothing but death, you know. And that seems like very, you know, straightforward. That's how it is. Like, you know, your grandmother was always like, hey, cut it out. There's no back and forth, this or that, you know. So that's how, and Brother Cujo allowed me to see that in his book as well. And I was raised by my grandma as well, so there was no, you know, riffraff. The law was what she said. Don't bring anybody in here. Don't answer the door. Boom. Yes, ma'am. Got you. And if you broke that, the law of justice of grandma, you know, came to you. You know, but universal law right here. Another excerpt from Brother Cujo's book about justice, and that's what Nova Jolly brought back, and that's what Saturn, you know, brings as well, along with the sun metaphysically being justice as well. You know, in a law perspective, you know, Saturn would be the justice because though the Saturn represents the judges. You know what I mean? And they have to be neutral. I was like, no, this is the way, despite how you feel. No, not breaking the rules. But the metaphysical meaning of justice. Justice when judgment is divorced from love and works from the head alone, there goes forth the human cry for justice. In his mere human judgment, man is hard and heartless. He deals out punishment without consideration of motive or cause, and justice goes erring. When justice and love meet at the heart center, there are balance, poise, and righteousness. There is an infinite law of justice that may be called into activity. When we call our inner forces into action, the universal law begins its great work in us. And all the laws, both great and small, fall into the line of work for us. The true way to establish justice is to appeal directly to divine law. And that's what Noble Ali brought back, you know, the divine principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, you know, and along with Saturn, the same principles, you know, stern, bound, and he's going to make sure what you did in the past, you're going to have to do now. Noble Ali, same thing. It's like go back to the ancient mindset. Once you go back to the ancient mindset, you see the lower self things that we did. So now we can be right. You know what I'm saying? We can treat people like humans, you know what I'm saying? And not like, you know, non-humans, you know what I'm saying? Not abuse our power and our inner forces, you know what I'm saying? And put injustices on people like how Moors was capturing Europeans, you know, that's injustice. You know, they still want to live life too, like how Brother Benjamin Banneker was assisting them in building our government. That's how we're supposed to use our inner forces, you know, how we're supposed to use justice and more science, you know, it's earthly science, you know, we got to share this earth, you know, so that reminded me of that as well, of Saturn as well, you know, being, you know, that divine force of righteousness, you know, in the heavens, and Noble Jolly is the materialized form of that, you know, him being a universal prophet. And right here, going along with the law as well and other things that Noble Jolly constructed for us, The Moorish Science Temple of America was incorporated under the Illinois Religious Corporation Act 805 ILCS 110. So I'm not sure. I want to say I got this over RV Bay or publications, but it's basically a survey about what Noble Valley constructed for us, religiously, civically, so you can know the rules and how it goes, on the inside things of that nature. So I'll go over a few right here, just the front of it. The Moorish Divine National Movement of the World, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, or the Science Temple of America. Great Seal National Association, Moorish Affairs, First Aboriginal Indigenous Defense Ministry, Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, Northwest America, Northgate, Temple of the Moon and Sun. And right here, just like a sparring match with self, a survey you can use, right here, and it goes like number one right here. Are you aware of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science is a church, congregation, or society that may be referred to in Section 35? You're like, oh, what's Section 35? Boom, you jump over Section 35, and check that out. And right here, just I highlighted, are you aware that the Moorish Holy Temple of Science may make such improvements to real estate thereon as they may deem their comfort and convenience? And Brother Mafia is talking about that all the time, and he's actually doing it. I don't say about talking, he's having meetings with various people talking about getting buildings, lands, for the prosperity of Moors where you're at in that territory, and right here in the 805 ILSC, it's like, oh, boom, and he's actually doing that with his organization, and that's what basically we are, we need to express our ideas, and he comes back and like, hey guys, I was thinking about this, we can build this, and we was talking about people buying this, and we have the right to do that, to improve and make our better life convenient, because all Moors got to live together, and what's more convenient than Moors living together, and not going to various, UDOT's places like a Walmart, the Aldi's, or something like that, and where it is, it's tons of vendors out there on the side, But just imagine if it was all nationalized, turn up the side's head. It goes, are you aware that the title such as real estate shall be in the Moorish Science Temple of America, subject to like conditions as provided in this act in regards to other real estate held by Moorish Science Temple of America? So basically you get any property, you can put it inside the Moorish Science Temple of America, and Moorish Science Temple of America benefits whatever proclaims. Just like Brother Murphy is in practice again. He's actually going out getting infrastructure for Moors, so beautiful to see.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah, and I think this last one, because there's a ton of pages, and I had like a lot. I was like, that's kind of what it is, but just to kind of scan over and you can look, but that's a lot of questions you can ask yourself, like, are you aware? Like, am I aware of this, that? I was like, oh, I'm not aware of this. So we go to number 31 where I got highlighted. Are you aware that the Moorish Science Temple of America, when directed by Moorish Holy Temple of Science, may erect houses or buildings and improvements and repair and alter the same? Once again, clearly when I was, on this, it was about infrastructure, going to get buildings and things like that. And we got this mindset, we are a religious nonprofit organization. Our religion is Islam. Islam is peace. Just want to go out peacefully, repair buildings or get buildings that are not need great repair. If you have the federal notes to just purchase the building that, doesn't need a ton of work, just need people in it to run it, boom, under Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. And there we go. It won't be another 100 years of just BS out here. You know what I mean? But honors to Prophet Noble Ali for, constructing this avenue as well for us to take, for those who want to take, this route. There are other routes as well, but Noble Ali being universal, created a way. So, all right, the Prophet Noble Ali, the Prophet moved to Chicago, establishing a center there as well as temples in other major cities. The movement expanded rapidly during the late 1920s. Expansion of the Moorish Science Temple arose in large part from the search for identity and context amongst Moorish Americans, whom in the Prophet's area of time were being called blacks and other slave names given to Moors by modern European slaveholders in the time of slavery, which was 1779 to 1865. And right here, I have it's like a workbook I have, and it had a couple of chapters in it about translating the meaning of the astrology signs that are in the Bible, and I got the ones that correlated with Saturn. So it would be Capricorn and Aquarius. So it's like, teach him benevolence, Capricorn, and his mind shall be exalted. You know, that sounds like Noble Drew Ali, you know, bringing those exalted principles down to make your mind exalted, you know, make you perpendicular in the mind again, as, you know, masonry. You know, you want to raise higher in Abiff, you want to exalt higher, you know. So Capricorn, Saturn comes to do that. And teach him science, more science. Aquarius, both of these signs are ruled by Saturn, you know, and Noble Drew Ali brought back these science, more science, you know, and with the book, you know, with the 4 breaks, with the 7, but you can replace the 7 with the dot, you know, and that would be, you know, the sun or earth and whatever you want to put in there, or the 7 chakras, the 7 planets, but, you know, science, more science. That's worldly science, you know, and his life shall be useful. And if you know how to do something, like if you're a scientist in something, you will be useful for society. You know, you will be a great contribute to society. You know, you won't be a slave to society or for servitude. You won't be, your essence won't be used. You'll be using your essence for the world. You know what I mean? Kind of like an animal. You know, they don't know, a beaver doesn't know, like, oh, I need to build this dam because it's going to help everybody else. He's like, no, I need this wood to build my family and all that. But often in doing that, other things benefit. No, so not, you know, calling us animals, but just knowing the science or whatever you're good at to benefit the world, you know. But don't be greedy, but, you know, great power comes great responsibility. Great responsibility. You know, to be all cheesy and all that. But, you know, even in this, you know, you can take this and run off and take advantage of somebody's mind, or you can open their mind and they can go help their family, you know, in a genuine way. You know what I mean? And that's what Noble Drew Ali wanted. You know, take this and save yourself. You know, once you save yourself, you can go save somebody else with themselves. And right here at the end, you know, just bringing it back to Noble Drew Ali being universal, you know, and calling himself a Muslim and having like remedies for the world, and, you know, preserving the body. Once again, Saturn, you know, keeping your frame, you know, together, keeping it structured, keeping it rolling, you know. Right here, so Professor Drew, the man who was born with divine power. You know, once again, you know, bringing those divine principles on, you know, Saturn manifested. You know? He was taught by the adepts of Egypt, I have the secret of destroying all the germs, tuberculosis, cancer, and of the lungs in 10 to 30 days. It's like what? Your lungs can sick and very strict examination that the germs are entirely destroyed. Also, destroy the germs of eating, sick, cancer, gout, rheumatism, I'm not sure what that one is, lumbago, heart trouble, female diseases, and serious affections of the body. Call at once adults and children and be relieved of your suffering. If you have any doubts about my treatments, you can be healed before $1 is paid with security. Jeez. Through these divine treatments, there has been great success of cognitive, contagious and long-standing diseases which have been cured in 2 to 3 days. Also give divine instructions and interpret the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. Also have 18 years of Christ's life to add to your holy table for all those who desire to know more about Jesus Christ. I'm about to say amen. And I love the all right there at the end of it. But yeah, just bringing together astrology and law and the laws that Noble Drew Ali brought down, which is the Constitution, you know, which is basically a bond, boundaries, something you have to stick to, like the rings of Saturn. So, yeah, I yield.
Islam. Beautiful, beautiful presentation, man. I appreciate that, man. And when I was, matter of fact, let me stop. Oh, there you go. You did it. When I was listening to your presentation, it just popped out that Noble Drew Ali was a Capricorn. He couldn't help but he's Saturn. He walked in Saturn, right? And I thought about just discipline. Like, what is the discipline? To be disciplined. I, self-law, and master.
Yeah.
That's Saturn.
Yeah.
That's Saturn dealing with discipline, being
Yeah.
disciplined. I'm like, it just hit me all at once. I was like, oh, that's cold right there. That's
Yeah, when you
cold.
was on with astrology and law, and I was like, oh, okay. No, then I was like, oh, I'm trying to make it precise. And that was inspired by Brother Nature Bay. He had a winter solstice lecture once, and he explained how kind of like how Saturn, he was like Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, and how like during the winter time the sun is in Capricorn and the week is in the sun is like our, engine. And so it's like that's when people get sick. So it's like, we got to make sure we are really up on the times because our source of life is in its weakest point, and that goes with the discipline at that time, making sure wherever part you are, or I guess wherever it's cold, you have, I guess, tea, you're keeping your hands washed, he was talking about the tuberculosis and all that, and that's Saturn thing, healing yourself because, winter is coming, the sun is going to be at its weakest point at one time. And as above, so below, we're going to be at our weakest point just off of that time season, So it's like we're not supposed to get sick, but there's opportunity if you're not disciplined, if you're not aware. You know what I mean? You're going to be bonded down by some sickness, So when summer come around, you ain't going to be shaking and baking, you're going to be sluggish, when the sun is at its highest peak, but you haven't really recovered from when the sun was at its lowest peak in Capricorn, around December, like that. That's where it came. I was like, oh wow, But he was like, I was like, man, that's what it hit me just like that too. And I was like, whoa.
Yes. Yeah, man. When you're ready to receive, you're gonna hit you. You receive it. Like, you know what I mean?
Islam, that's crazy. I'm a Capricorn. Just want to mention that.
Oh, sure.
That's long. Yeah, there's a couple Capricorns in here, I think.
That's a lot of good info for me right there. So, Islam for that.
Yeah. They're dealing with the skeletal structure too, So any type of bone structure, keep the bones healthy.
It's like Moorish Science Temple is like the bone structure of our salvation. And that's how I was looking. I was like, okay, Noble Ali built the structure of our society. Like Saturn built the structure so our muscles can walk around in the meat suit. You know what I mean? So we can. Yeah.
In the meat suit. Yeah.
And having one questionnaire so we can, okay, cool, convert some society, off of the skeleton or Science Temple of America.
Yeah. Foundation, right?
Yeah.
That's great stuff, man. So I'm gonna read one chapter from the Silent Brotherhood of the East and give an update for what we got going on as far as putting the budget together and stuff like that for like grants and stuff like that.
Before you get into that, can I say something right quick? Because I've been trying to yeah. So there was a lot that he said. A lot. First of all, are we gonna get the recording for this so we could have like all those papers that he was showing us, like he was scrolling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah,
send
you
the
can hear me.
recording.
Answer my question.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear you. To both. Both. Yes, to both.
Scrolling through and I was like, wait, and I was trying to screen record it at the same time, but and then the second thing was he showed the pictures of the second temple that Noble Drew Ali made here in Amexem, America, was in Chicago. I believe the first one was in Newark, New Jersey. The second one was in Chicago. So just to say, you know this already, but we actually went there. I went there about 2 weeks ago. I don't know the exact address. I probably should, but I think he noted it. Benjamin Bay noted it. And I say that to say that the energy there is just different. Like when you get there, like we got there and not all of us knew where we were, but we knew where we were. Like we were like, wait a minute, hold on. We started getting books out. We was looking at pictures, like looking at the building. Like, so even if you don't know, there is like an energy that like literally still to this day. And then we're looking at the date and we're like, whoa, this was established in 1928. It's about to be 2028. That's literally almost a century later. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I just feel like everything that's happening right now in Compton. Because when he mentioned it, I was like, wow, that's crazy that he mentioned. I was just there. And then in that photo that he showed, you have not just I don't know if everybody knows this, but you don't just have Noble Drew Ali. You also have Elijah Muhammad in that photo, and you also have W.D. Farr Muhammad in that photo. And crazy, by the time of that photo was taken, you have Malcolm X on a different timeline who was 4 years old, getting his house burned down in Lansing, Michigan. So it's just crazy, like when you see all the timelines and like you study and you're knowing and it comes together, and then you go there, it literally like you feel it, like you feel the energy different. So I just wanted to share that with all y'all. So if y'all get a chance to go there, especially if you study and you like on it like that, when you go there, you're gonna feel like you. I'm not gonna say you feel Noble Drew Ali's energy, but you feel like the divine source. I'll say that.
Wow. Islam.
As long as that. It was like, stand what it probably was. That's super cool to be like, he actually was standing like right there. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Feel it, like you feel like a divine presence.
powerful.
And we were all dressed in our like Moorish drip too. Like we all had fezzes on, turbans, like our sashes. So it was like really a divine energy going on right there. It was like, what does the prophet say? It was like modern and ancient. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. You got something, Ramik Bey? Was you gonna say something? Okay. Any other thoughts on that in the space? I'm just gonna read a chapter and then go into the grant space. This is chapter 1. I'll go to the cover page so we can all see what we're looking at here. This is the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Some people will call this the Red Book. Some people will call this part 2 to the Circle 7. Some Circle 7s is all combined in one book. Just a little background on that. So we'll begin with chapter 1 of this book. Lives and Works of Yahshua in Egypt and India. And Yahshua came to Egypt land, and all was well. He tarried not upon the coast. He went at once to Zoan, home of Elihu and Salome, who 25 years before had taught his mother in their sacred grove or sacred school. And there was a joy when met these three. When last the son of Mary saw these sacred groves, he was a babe, and now a man had grown strong by buffeting of every kind, a teacher who had stirred the multitudes of many lands. I'm gonna mute you till I get done. You got background noise, Kashiba. And Yahshua told the aged teachers all about his life, about the journeying in foreign lands, about the meetings with masters, and about his kind receptions by the multitudes. Elihu and Salome hears this story with delight. They lifted up their eyes to heaven and said, Our Father Allah, let now thy servants go in peace, for we have seen the glory of the Lord. And we have talked with him, the messenger of love, and of the covenant of peace on earth and goodwill to men. Through him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, with him, Emmanuel. And Yahshua stayed in Zoan many days, and then he went forth into the city of the sun, that men call Heliopolis, and sought admission to the temple of the sacred brotherhood. The council of the brotherhood convened, and Yahshua stood before the Hierophant, or the magician, or the high priest. He answered all the questions that were asked with clearness and with power. The Hierophant, or the high priest, or the magician exclaimed, Rabboni of the Rabbinat. So the high priest is calling Yahshua Rabboni, or Rabbi, right? Because he was a practicing Jewish culture, right? The Jews, the illuminated ones. That's it. That's simple. That's what the Jews are, the illuminated ones. That's simple. Why come you here? Your wisdom is the wisdom of gods. Why seek for wisdom in the halls of men? And Yahshua said, in every way of earth life, I will walk. In every hall of learning, I would sit. The height that any man had gained, these I would gain. What any man has suffered, I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and the sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how to succor with those in need. I pray you, brothers, let me go into your dismal crypts. I will pass the hardest of your tests. The master said, take then the vow of secret brotherhood, and Yahshua took the vow of secret brotherhood. Again, the master spoke. He said, the greatest heights are gained by those who reach the greatest depths, and you shall reach the greatest depths. The guide then led the way, and in a fountain Yahshua bathed. And when he had been clothed in proper garb, he stood again before the Hierophant. So I want to marinate in this chapter. You know, like I just said, he was a rabbi. You know, and these are principle, the holy books are for principles, you know. So when we're saying reach the higher self, most people don't reach that until they went to the depths of how low they can go. They had to learn and bounce back. You had to master that going that low. But you need to know how low you can go. You need to comprehend how low you can go. You know, so you can master yourself and see what to be around to keep yourself away from that darkness, right? Also, I wanted to highlight why I kept every time I read Hierophant, I kept saying high priest, magician. The Moors are the high priest of Anu. Yahshua was learning from Moors. The ancient, what they call Egyptian mystery system, or we just call it Moor science. That's it. That's it. Any thoughts, questions on this chapter? Before we conclude with prayer and close out and talk about a couple developments.
Well, I say a lot of good info. A lot of good info today.
Kind of breaking up, but I think you said a lot of good stuff. That what you said?
Yeah, it's like a lot of good info today.
Islam. Matter of fact, let me check the chat real quick. Let's see here what we got here. Peace and love, y'all gotta run. Okay, Troy left already. Peace and love. Peace and love. I appreciate y'all. Gotta make a few. Okay. Oh, that's the brother. He said that to me directly. Oh yeah, but the energy. Where you at, New Jersey? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what's up. I'm just late. I'm just late to the chat. I'm just catching up. That's all. That's all. So let me close out in prayer. Hold on. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. Islam. So let me turn the recording. Let me turn the recording off. And